Live from Las Vegas, broadcasting around the world. You're listening to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker. L.A. Walker. Raw and unfiltered conversations on how to give life's challenges the finger. Truth is your passport to emotional freedom. Give an eviction notice to negativity. Dump yesterday's garbage. Learn how to be positive, energized, healthy, and alive during these insanely unpredictable times. Look up, get up, stay up. Then help somebody else to get up. Remember, any part of up is higher than down. Now, broadcasting hope to the world, L.A. Walker.
Look up, get up, and stay up. I am in such a silly mood, so I don't know where to begin. Let me do this right. First of all, I just want to say that I am just so happy that I have been given the gift of life, and I know that it's my job to live it, and I'm on my job because living is the best job I've ever had. Now, back to my tickle box, which is completely turned over because instead of just saying look up, I think now after the Capitol storming events, I have to add look away because that's perhaps the only way we're going to be able to really look up, get up, and stay up is that with all these insane things going on in the world, that we might just have to start looking away in order to find some peace and enjoyment. I hope that you enjoyed your holidays. I hope that you are satisfied with the outcome of the elections, because I know that I am. I am so ready for decency to take the stage and to rekindle the caring that we had one for another. You thought life was bad, didn't you? I know that I did at certain points. I thought things were really getting rough and bad. But every day we find out that they can get a little rougher and people can go a little lower. So we are going on the high road now, and I am thrilled about it. So this podcast is a little different. Yeah, it's about motivation. It's about self-motivation, but the self-motivation comes through the self-awareness of the things that we go through on a daily basis in our lives. I mean, we go through a lot. We have a lot of challenges. I will not call them obstacles because there's nothing that we're going through that we can't get over, above, around, or just eliminate it all together. It's about self-love and it's about self-care. And we are not taught at early ages, in most cases, to love ourselves. Think about that. We're taught to love others, but not ourselves. And then when we need that extra energy to go on, and God knows we need a lot of energy to go on right now because most of us are suffering from COVID fatigue, TV news fatigue, Donald Trump fatigue for sure, white supremacy fatigue. We are just fatigued, and we need to love ourselves and build ourselves up. And even the dog, hear my dog, even Phoebe agrees with me. A lot of us forget, and some of us have never ever accepted and believed that we are important. Touch yourself and say, I am important. What I think is important, how I sleep is important, where I go is important, the people I socialize with, those decisions are important for me, for my life. Everything surrounding my life and the goodness in my life is important. I'm important. Now you can do self-care. Once we determine that anything is important, it takes a different presence in our lives. We feel it must be secured. It must be kept safe. It must be handled in a particular manner. If it's important, you see? And that's us. I learned so much just from looking at a rose. And sometimes, we look at things for years and they just don't have the same meaning. I guess we grow and our understanding also grows. But looking at a rose is so beautiful. International beauty. Everyone loves roses. They have a wonderful scent. They beautify everything wherever they're placed. It's like, wow, that's a rose, or that's a rose bush, or that's a group of roses, just beautifying everywhere they are. But roses have thorns, and they have thorns to protect them from predators. So you cannot just take your hand and just grab up on a rose and handle it any way you want to. We have to become like roses because we are beautiful and we beautify everywhere we go when we practice self-care and self-love and know that we are important. We don't allow others to just grab us any way they want to. We have to be handled as though we are what we are, which is important. So just remember in the coming days, when you're feeling a little down or you feel betrayed or things are not going the way that you want them to go and you're feeling that you're being tread upon, say to yourself, no, I am important and I will demand of myself to be treated a certain way. And when I make that affirmation, others will follow. I have a friend with us today from my hometown of Chicago, Robin Tillotson. She's found a unique way of communicating and uplifting matured women. Okay, Robin, tell me all about your very, very unique, useful, and needed company.
In 2015, LA, I started the business with the intent of creating travel opportunities for older women age 50 plus. Okay. Because one of the things that I was noticing is that so many women are very, very dedicated to their families. They're dedicated to all kinds of things, grandchildren, jobs. But I noticed they were not really doing anything for themselves. Now, they were happy to do what they were doing with their families or for their families. They weren't complainers, but it was a pattern I saw. So I decided to start a travel business centered around that particular age group. And we have actually been on every continent except Antarctica.
Oh, wow.
And and what I really appreciate about it more than anything is that you see some women some of the women in the group have either traveled very little or not at all, and in some cases not only domestically. And so, you're working with this group for about a year and a half prior to the trip. And I will start a Facebook group. And so you're working with them around the proper packing techniques for a particular country, the customs and social mores for a particular group. You're working with them around currency, how to secure a passport, how do you secure a visa if that's needed. So it's not just a hedonistic activity. It's really about growth. And a lot of times when I'm in these cities or countries with the group, I will stand back and just watch them and just see how much they've grown from the time that they've signed up for the trip through the preparation period and all the uncertainty that comes with that for people or for some people who have never traveled. And then to see it culminate in a more confident woman and a woman who takes better care of herself. She doesn't, she still is dedicated to her family, which is a great thing, but she's learned to balance it by doing something for her. So that's where the title of the business came from, and it also represents self-care. And out of that, so I started that in 2015, and out of that, I started a podcast along with, we do diner rounds here in the city of Chicago when we're not traveling. And the diner rounds are great because, we will, like, for example, as we were preparing to go to Vietnam, we went to a Vietnamese restaurant. and learned a lot about the foods and the culture that way.
That's wonderful, Robin. That's wonderful.
When we were preparing to go to Greece, we took a Greek cooking class at Sur La Table.
Oh.
So it's a comprehensive thing it complements the travel piece. We'll go to theater. We have theater outings. So we do a little bit of everything that's centered around all kinds of things that are centered around self-care. We've done painting classes, art classes. We've done indoor skydiving. Lots of different things during the time that we're not traveling. And so I have people who have no interest in traveling, but they will join us for some of the other activities.
Okay.
And so that way, you're still getting people to balance their life out by doing some things for themselves. And then came the podcast in 2019, and the purpose of that is to highlight women who are doing what I consider to be phenomenal things at age 50 plus. I mean, you have, so I'll interview them about the kinds of things that they're doing, how their career trajectory, some of the unique things and accomplishments they've made during their work career, and some of the things that they're accomplishing now on their jobs. And it goes to highlight that just because you turn 50 doesn't mean life is over. As a matter of fact, for most of these ladies, they're just getting revved up. So, because they don't have the responsibility of child rearing anymore.
Right.
Many of them are not necessarily trying to climb a corporate ladder. That doesn't mean they're not getting appointed for promotions and things like that, but their focus isn't on that. So that's how the podcast came to be, and that's what I hope to continue to do right into my so-called retirement or refirement. So that's how it all got started, L.A.
All right, honey. Well, you know what I want you to do? I need you to send me, text me, messenger me the links to your podcast,
Sure.
to This I Do For Me, and let me understand so I'm clear. This I Do For Me is your travel group?
Yeah, the name of the business in general
is
called This I Do For Me. And then there's the podcast, which is This I Do For Me, Black Women 50 Plus and Fabulous. So it has a tagline, but, it still has This I Do For Me in it. So anything that I'm doing, if it's something that I create 6 months from now, it's going to be attributed to, or it'll have the title or name This I Do For Me in it.
Okay. Which because I think is incredibly good name.
Targeting.
Incredibly good name. I mean, gee.
Well, it's interesting. I have to tell you how I got that name. My mother, like most mothers, sacrificed a lot for their children. As a matter of fact, if they needed something, if they wanted a new purse, they would not necessarily get it because, the kids need a pair of shoes or you got to pay tuition or whatever.
Right.
And one day my mother bought a purse. And she said, now this I do for me. And I had to be about 11 when she said that. And I always remembered that.
Oh,
and
wow.
So when I was searching for a name for the business, it didn't take me long because I put together what I wanted to do and what it represented. And that my mother's comment came right to mind. And that's why I named it that.
That's an incredible story and very positive. Yeah, because some names are catchy, but they don't reinforce the message. And This I Do For Me just constantly reinforces that. That's brilliant. Your mom was
brilliant. Thank you. I thank my mother for that. And I learned early just when she said that how important it was for mothers and women in general to do something for themselves, because we're always doing stuff for the community, the church, the family. You know, we're always doing something. Women are just hardwired that way typically. And so that's why, you know, it was important for me to have a name that really represented the mission.
Well, you have done that, and I wish you the very, very best.
Thank you, L.A.
I know that you're going to get through this COVID thing. We're all going to get through it. It's eventually going to come to an end.
Yes, it will.
Yes.
And then we'll be on to, I'd like to think that we'll all be wiser and much more compassionate and all good stuff that makes, you know, us a better person individually and collectively. So I know I've learned a lot of lessons and had a lot of time to reflect on things, and I just think it's been right for that, even though it has, I wish it hadn't come in the form of a pandemic, but since it did,
right.
You know, I think it has some pluses as it relates to reflection. So
I agree with you totally. And I'm hoping that you will have the best day, the very best day you've had this year today.
Oh, and the same to you, Ella, and thank you so much, and I'll send you those links.
All right, Robin. Love you much. Talk to you later.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye-bye now.
Hi guys, this is Tin. Listen, I don't know if you have been able to make your way over to lawalker.life on Facebook, but if you haven't, do yourself a favor, run over there and just read the snippets of her new book. She's writing a new book, and it is titled Seeing Beyond the Mess. It grabs your attention. All of us have mess. All of us have mess, whether we were born in the mess, as she says, whether we were born in the mess or whether it's handcrafted mess, but there's life beyond that mess. We sometimes create our own mess. And just from reading the little snippets that I read, she exposed all of that. Just in those little bitty passages, she exposed a lot of that. A lot of that stuff she was born into. Some of that stuff she could not control. Some of those things she created on her own. She exposed the mess. Whenever you have time, just run over there and check it out. Let's start seeing beyond the mess.
You're listening to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker.
Whatever podcast network you listen to Up is Higher Than Down on, please, please, please take the time to rate and leave a comment. Well, at least rate and subscribe. How about that? I need those ratings in order to make this podcast go. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to remember that you are important.
Listen to Up is Higher Than Down with L.A. Walker every day. To follow up, make comments, discuss today's podcast, or find out how you can become a guest and share your victory over a negative life event, follow L.A. Walker. Up is Higher Than Down on Facebook. Look up, get up, stay up. Remember, any part of Up is higher than down.